That's right. No. Wait a minute. Spoken rule. Hey. See? Yeah. Oh, I am too. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm saying, we need a. Why you do it? Minute, for taking comments and I, state your name and got approximately. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name's Courtney Haight. My address is 311 Merrick Way. I'm back. Thanks for putting this on the agenda. I appreciate it. It's about the food cart or vendors in general in Swansboro. My main issue, of course, was the vending or zoning. Zoning's a problem for me because I had a local spot by Food Lion next to the tire shop that they just built there. And apparently, by the restrictions in Swansboro, that's not in the zone. So that's my biggest problem is the zoning. So I can't set up there even though if I don't know why I can't set up there even if I have permission for the landowner is my biggest thing. If I have permission from the landowner, why can't I, sell out there where I have been selling? The other thing is, I think one of the other restrictions is like music. You can't have music playing. I obviously know like too loud is probably a problem, but if it's low enough for where nobody else, it's bothering anybody else, I don't know why we can't play music. And I think the other one I was really trying to push was the advertisement. I know you guys don't like big signs and all that stuff, but if they don't know I'm out there, that's the only way people know that I'm out there, so I can get a little bit of business. I just was hoping that there would be some kind of variance for vendors or maybe even just food carts in general, because I have a food cart, not a food truck, a little different. It's smaller. But I do have a hot dog cart, and I was just hoping that maybe the restrictions could be, I don't know, a little suppressed or maybe different now. I don't know when the last time this was on the board, but I do appreciate you guys opening it back up and listening to what I have to say, and hopefully we can come to something better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that's all we have signed up for public comment tonight. So we're going to move to the adoption of the agenda and consent items, and I'd like to amend the agenda to take the recognition of Isabella Smith off, our Military Child of the Year. She couldn't make it tonight, so hopefully we'll have that at a future date because she is very deserving of the award. It's a highly coveted award. So could I get a motion to adopt?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so unanimously adopted. Going along pretty quick tonight, so we have recognition. Isabella won't be there, but we do have Administrative Professionals Week that I'd like to read a proclamation about. We really appreciate everything that all of our administrative staff does. So it says, whereas April 20th to 26th, 2025 has been designated Administrative Professionals Week, and whereas April 23rd, 2025 has been designated as Administrative Professionals Day, and whereas this occasion is observed globally as a way to show appreciation and support for all administrative support personnel, and whereas these individuals provide valuable assistance to administrators, staff, and citizens throughout our town. Whereas the work of administrative professionals requires advanced knowledge and expertise in communications, computer software, office technology, project management, organization, customer service, and other vital office management responsibilities. And whereas Administrative Professionals Week serves as a time to salute the valuable contributions of administrative professionals in the workplace, recognizing the singular importance of their work in accomplishing the mission and vision of their place of work. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Mayor William Justice, and the Board of Commissioners of the Town of Swansboro hereby proclaim April 20th through the 26th, 2025 as Administrative Professionals Week, and April 23rd, 2025 as Administrative Professionals Day, this 22nd day of April, 2025. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Mayor, I know we have several of them here tonight. If we could have them come up front.
I would love for, yes, sir. Yep. And all of our administrative staff, please come up. I should have had you come up before, really, to tell you the truth.
Let's get our pictures.
I didn't. Okay.
Yep.
So I'll call up. Oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is the most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Now, therefore, I, William Justice, and the Board of Commissioners for the town of Swansboro hereby recognize the week of May 4th through 10th, 2025 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerks, Elisa Fender and Deputy Clerk Aliette Quadro, okay, and to all the professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Dated 22nd of April, 2025. That's a mouthful.
It's written by clerks for clerks.
I got to go take a break now. And thank you so much for all y'all do, because you both do a great job.
Congratulations.
And I have to say, I don't know how many of y'all have dealt with either one of these two ladies, but they are extremely helpful. And when we first came on as board members, they were invaluable to me. I'm sure they helped the other members as well. Okay, so that was a mouthful. We've got no public hearing tonight. We've got business non-consent, which would be the food truck ordinance review, and Ms. Rebecca will come up and fill us in on that.
Right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Let's see. Okay. So we have been talking about food truck and push cart discussions recently, so we thought it would be helpful to give you guys the ordinance overview of what our regulations are pertaining to that, and then we can always go from there. After discussion and direction from the board at their April 8, 2025 regular meeting, staff was directed to bring back an overview of the current food truck ordinances and procedures. So to give you guys a little bit of back history, on July 26 of 2021, the board approved a text amendment to allow food trucks under the standards that we use and see today. And prior to this, food trucks were not allowed at all in town. So it was a pretty big step in allowing them. And additionally, on November 22nd, 2021, a discussion on making an exemption to the out parcel in front of Food Lion was actually brought up for review. Ultimately, the planning board did not recommend this exemption to the ordinance, and the board chose to leave it as is until a revision of the future land use plan was completed. It's important to note that in order to make this exemption, it would require amending the CAMA land use plan or making a specific exception for that parcel that goes against the standards set in the ordinance. So that was ultimately the reason why they decided not to give that particular parcel an exemption. And it also goes slightly against how zoning works in general the ordinance is set in districts and zones, and it really doesn't call out specific parcels or pieces of property. So to give you an overview of the ordinance, according to section 152.179, table of permitted special uses found in your packet, there's a category labeled food sales, push carts / food truck. And there's also a note attached to that which gives extra detail. And as you can see, it's highlighted on that page 15. That category is only permitted in B1, B2, B3, and MI zoning districts. And it also, again, references the note 30 for all the additional standards that she was referencing earlier. In addition to food trucks only being permitted in these specific zone districts and having to meet the standards set in note 30, they also have to be set up in one of 3 nodes that were pulled from our 2019 CAMA land use plan future land use map. And those nodes are the traditional town center, the suburban town center, or the employment light industrial. And you can see it's cut off a little bit on this map up here on the screen. So in a way, it overlays our zoning districts as well as the nodes found in our future land use plan. So they have to line up with each other in order to be one of the designated areas that food trucks are allowed. So we have those nodes found, the one downtown, which unfortunately doesn't meet all the criteria, so we really can't have food trucks downtown, but it is one of the nodes. So the 3 that we really see is the one in red there, the orange, and the purple. So just to give some context, the purple is the Seth Thomas area where we have more of our industrial buildings. The orange is the area around Walmart, and then the red is the area around, I believe, like the Walgreens and post office area and Piggly Wiggly. Yeah. So that's kind of a brief overview. And then I pulled it in a little closer view. So it has to not just be in B1, B2, B3, or MI, but it also has to be within one of those nodes in our CAMA future land use plan. So this is one of those nodes. The area in purple there would be one of the allowable zones. It's a little bit hard to see, but there's a yellow line around the node that's around Walmart that also falls within the B1 zoning, so that's an approved node where food trucks can go. And then this is our third one. Again, it's a little hard to see, but that is the node around the Piggly Wiggly and the Walgreens and the post office where it's an additional area where they can go. And then, let's see here. So if they meet the criteria found in note 30, as well as falling in one of those 3 nodes, they have an option of doing a single day permit for $100 or an annual permit for $500. The only exception to these standards is found in section 112.05, peddlers and itinerant salesmen prohibited exceptions, where it states special events or sales conducted by businesses on their property not to exceed 3 days in duration. So essentially, if a property owner or a business owner is holding like a special event on their specific property, they can invite food trucks to come for a small time period not to exceed 3 days in duration, and that is the one exception to this. So, for example, say Walmart was holding some sort of celebration or opening or renovation opening that they did, they can invite food trucks to come for that special event, as long as it doesn't exceed 3 days in duration. So that's the general overview. It's a pretty complicated ordinance, I will say. I know a lot of work was put into formulating this, and it has seemed to work pretty successfully in the years past. I wasn't the one that was here when it was formed, so I did my best to research why it was implemented, and Elisa helped me a lot with that as well. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Go ahead.
Are there any taxes collected from these, or is it just the fee for the permit?
I'm pretty sure it's just the permit fee. Is that correct, Elisa? Yep.
So do you pay any sort of tax other than the fee? Right. Okay.
So we have to be careful with the back and forth discussion a little bit because we're not in
Yeah,
a public
yeah,
comment right
Yeah,
now.
you
Right,
can't,
right.
yeah.
What? Sorry about that. That was your question, but that's.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just so I understand it, because of a line on a map that was put on the, how long ago was this ordinance enacted? This
So
one-
the original ordinance was put into place July 26th of 2021.
2021, okay. So Walmart was already there.
Hmm.
Tire Center wasn't there. That's where the place we used to sell fireworks and stuff out there.
Right.
And they would set up for fireworks like a week or two at a time, right? And they had
Those-
permission to be there too by the property owner.
I believe there's an exception for that because they're a nonprofit. So that's a little bit of a different category.
So can you explain to me exactly if she has permission of the property owner to be there and kind of taking the person that, I guess, the person that's got interest in this?
Hmm.
The question is, and I still have the question in my mind, why don't we, it's a natural place, I think, that whole parking lot area in front of Walmart and the Tire Center and the Starbucks and stuff. I guess that she'd have to stay 100 feet from Starbucks.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is a long list.
And I'm
Of
sure that she was in
criteria.
compliance with that 100 feet. 100 feet's not very far, it's 30 yards.
Right. So the
Mhm.
area she's speaking of, I believe, is in front of Food Line, which is not within one of those approved nodes, which is
Why not?
was
Just, why not?
this was the boundaries that the previous board set. There was thought behind what would be appropriate areas based off the future land use designations and development that would come. And I think a lot of it was they don't want to hurt other businesses and tax-paying.
How does
Businesses.
her food truck hurt other businesses? Yeah, explain that to me.
I
Someone
was
has to
not-
explain it to me.
It was the previous board that was in place that enabled this. I can explain what the ordinance now says, but that would be the rationale
Can
of
you
the
explain
previous
to me
board.
how
So
she
you,
hurts other
okay,
businesses?
so you're just going by the previous
Yeah.
ordinance, which is
Okay.
what we.
This is the current, this is the
Tell me how
current food truck
her
ordinance.
food trucks,
Doug, hold on, please.
Okay, what had happened? I was on the board at the time when this all came about. I wasn't on this board, I was on the planning board. So at the time, the town had a package for a dentist office to go in there. And because with the dentist office going there, the future land use plan was going to have to be updated to take care of this dentist office and what was going on there at the time. And we elected not to do that yet, knowing that in the future, because nobody had put in for anything yet,
Mhm.
but in the future, we're going to have to do land use plan and we'll tie it in then. Well, lo and behold, for some reason, the dentist office pulled out another package for whatever reason, and planning board never followed back up on saying, hey, we need to add this to the, because it wasn't a no. It was that because of the way there was a package already submitted for something else going in there, and that's when we would update the land use plan to where they could.
And you're referring to the one specific parcel in front of Food Lion, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
See?
Right where Mavis Tire is now.
Right, beside it, yeah.
Understand what you said, Jeff, and it sounds like it's consistent with the, with.
It was on
with the
October 5th,
history.
2021.
What I want to know is what will it take for us to, and Rebecca, this is more to you.
Mhm.
What will it take for us to evaluate this, right, the changes that accommodate, these food trucks? And
So-
the small entrepreneur, just saying.
Right,
That's
so,
trying to, feed themselves and their families and make a living,
Mhm.
and the last time we were here and we talked about it, I spoke about to people I can't talk to right now, about down in Fayetteville, North Carolina, they have a old gas station that has been converted to a sit-down restaurant and beverage counter. and they are supported. They usually have about maybe 5 or 6 food trucks there. And people come and they have an array of food that they can order from, then go in and have a beverage and sit and eat. Now, I understand that there's an effort has been put here in Swansboro to create a facility or an environment where, with the proper electrical connections, where we can have multiple food trucks in one location. Now, and this ordinance here would block all of that to include the hot dog lane.
Well, no, so food trucks are allowed as long as you're within one of the nodes currently and you can meet the criteria in note 30. So she is more than welcome to come to town, just unfortunately not on the particular property that she was interested in.
She would have to get permission from the businesses nearby, or?
No, as long as she was in one of those nodes and she met the criteria on note 30 and filled out an application with the town, then she would be allowed to be set up.
I've got a question that's kind of connected. Is there a limit to the number of food trucks that can be in a node? I mean, I know you got criteria you got to meet as far as
I don't believe so.
distance,
No.
but so you could have 10 food trucks in one node if it met all the criteria?
Nope, there's nothing in note 30 that outlines a limitation on how many food trucks can come.
Well, I mean, so
Right, but it doesn't.
Another one that doesn't seem to make sense to me, Bill, is in the ordinance it states that food trucks got to stay 50 feet apart.
Right, so that would be the only.
Why?
I mean, aesthetics, the amount of people crowding, I'm really not sure why that generated.
either.
Yeah, there's a slew of reasons, I'm sure, why they decided to do that.
Like, usually when I go to towns and if they had food trucks out and stuff, they're usually clustered together in an area. So people can have a selection of what I like and stuff. Or if I go to BOC Distillery on Saturday night to toss back a few, there'd be 2 or 3 food trucks and they're parked right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody can have a choice of sandwiches, chicken, barbecue, and they do a healthy business down there.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we got to do to change this so people of interest with food trucks can, I guess, have a little bit more freedom of to do business and commerce here?
So there's always an option for text amendments to rework how this is, but in order to amend it, we would have to pretty much do an overhaul of the section unless you guys did want to update our Camet land use plan, which would be a little bit more of an involved process.
Yeah.
could this be a topic of discussion at our workshop tomorrow?
Yeah, it can go hand in hand with updating the Camet land use plan. Yep.
Just discussing it.
So we're open to amendments amongst the board members on this?
What's
you think?
how much does it usually cost to update that?
The Camet land use plan, I mean, it's at a staff level. You mean like a whole overhaul?
Yeah,
That
let's
would,
say we want to go in and change it.
just for a simple food truck, it could probably be something we do at a staff level, but a bigger update like we've been discussing would be,
No, if
we
we
would
just
have,
want to change it for this, right now.
yeah, that could be something we do at a staff level, yeah. So it would just be something at staff level. There's no outside cost for it.
Okay. So Pat, did you have something you wanted to add in?
It sounds like what we want is to have, that could put something together on some of the changes we might want. The only problem I have is changing it for one person. So if we're going to change it, we need to think long-term, and we need to think of many, not just one. So that's the only thing I would be concerned about.
Yeah, I would steer away from making an exception just for a specific
Right.
parcel. If we wanted to rewrite it to make it a little more lenient, that would be a little bit different, but that would apply to everyone, not just her particular food truck.
I just ask that we go through each line of this tomorrow, and then we take a look at it and say, well, if you have 2 food trucks within 50 feet, who does that hurt? If you have a food truck that maintains a 100-foot distance from a restaurant, who does that hurt?
Can we go into specifics?
I mean, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about common law, and it's kind of like our discussion last week. I had over most difficult part. Common law, and Raz will back me up on this, you have a crime, you have to have a victim. All right? And by placing regulations and restrictions on people who do commerce, you can't show a metric that hurts either property owners or current businesses in a locale. I mean, this is what, I don't think any metrics are really applied. And if you don't apply metrics that are tangible and real, how do you come up these, I guess, archaic or superfluous rules and regulations that all they do is stifle entrepreneurship and free market? That's my point, I guess. So I'm happy to look at this tomorrow, but I'm going to have a huge red pen in my hand. I'm going to ask people that, hey, if we don't have a metric for an ordinance, why do we have the ordinance? We need more
Yeah.
liberty in this.
Tamara, did you want to say something?
No, I'm open to discussing it tomorrow at the special meeting, and seeing if we want to make that change.
So I think you want some input from someone sitting out, but we'd probably have to wait until the final comment sections to do that, I would
Yeah.
assume. So we can't discuss, it can't be an open discussion right now.
Is there anything specific you guys want me to prepare, or you just want to have this ordinance section to review and go over and brainstorm a little bit?
Yeah, I would like to see us review this here. I agree with Doug, it seems very cumbersome to, I read through it twice this afternoon. I got my book, still don't understand the reasoning behind it. This was not in the previous land use plan, it's not even in the current land, but it was generated by the land use plan?
So the ordinance I'm reading off of is in our UDO, so that's completely separate from our CAMA land use plan. The nodes that it pulled from where food trucks are allowed, they pulled from our future land use plan. So if we wanted to change the nodes, in theory, you would have to do both. But the UDO is separate from the CAMA land use plan, but just in this instance, the ordinance references the nodes found in our future land use plan.
If we have to do all of it,
You would have to amend both.
I'm ready to roll. What I'm here for.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Pat,
I just have a question. Since our notice of our meeting is different than I think what we're talking about right now, can we do that?
Yeah, so I just clarified, the notice says discuss UDO and
Right.
any changes that may apply, as well as our CAMA, so it falls in that category, so it shouldn't be an
Okay.
issue, yeah. Discussion, yeah. Or guidance, yeah.
Here.
So as long as, so it's discussion, but nothing to vote on? Okay,
It,
right. Okay, thank you.
yeah, no decision would come out of that meeting. It's just purely educational and just discussion. Yeah. That's open to anybody that would like to come to it as well. So,
Or comment.
but they could come and sit in and listen if they wanted to. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have? Yeah, Doug.
Is there any way we can just grant relief while we go through this process to the person that's got permission of the owner there, and it's probably going to fall out that we're going to okay that spot by what I'm hearing? Can we grant any kind of relief in the interim? It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to pretend I'm a judge right now in a black robe there, Raz. I'm going to grant the plaintiff an injunction that says, we're going to suspend this until we can come together and go through the entire process. Because all we're doing is we're taking money out of that person's pocket in the meantime.
Mr. Egendorf, I understand your question. For a particular use to be excused from enforcement of the literal language of the code typically is handled by a variance method by the Board of Adjustment. Unfortunately, in North Carolina, it is it's case law and statutory law that variances cannot be variances as to use. And what we're talking about is the category of use in the UDO, which is that food truck category. And in terms of can the board simply waive an ordinance as to a particular location or a particular entity, there's really no legal authority to do that. And that's the answer to your question.
We have to go through the process the same as we would with any other text change or plan change.
So if I understand you, tomorrow's going to be educational, and we'll get some ideas together about the changes we'd like to probably make after some analysis. And then we'd have to schedule and put it on the agenda for public meeting. And then, I guess, motion for amendments to this thing line by line.
Yep, so it would have to go through the planning board first for a recommendation, and then it would go before your board with a public hearing for a motion to do a
Okay.
text amendment or not.
All right. And so it needs to become another future agenda item, and the quicker the better, I guess, on that one. Okay.
We can see how tomorrow's discussion goes.
We need a plan of action, I guess, and carve out some dates on the agenda for all this to happen. Okay.
To the planning board first.
Any more questions, discussion, or any recommendations on anything? All right, thank you. I guess we'll kind of visit it a little bit tomorrow at our
Continue
meeting.
tomorrow, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move along to the monthly financial report by Ms. Sonia. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Here's your financial report as of March 31st, 2025. All right, so here is your general fund with encumbrances, and your total excess of revenues over expenditures were $674,287. Just to give you a few things, so we're at 97.31% collected as far as our ad valorem. And then we do have some payroll, obviously, so we'll probably be expending all that. And not to mention, I also want to mention that when we have our budget retreat, I will be updating your projections as well, so you'll see that next week. All right, here's your general fund with your actual, without encumbrances, and your total excess of revenues over expenditures were $745,860. And this is a summary of your expenditures by department. And overall, the expenditures are at 61.01% of budget, which is 13.96, less than the monthly projections of 75%. So we're doing really good. And this is our stormwater enterprise fund with encumbrances, and your total excess of revenues over expenditures were $45,594. And this is your solid waste enterprise fund with encumbrances. Total excess of revenues over expenditures were $65,904. And here's the summary of your town debt and current loan balances. And we'll talk more about this in our budget as retreat too, as well. And here is a summary of your town current cash and investment accounts and their current balances. And here is your outstanding grant that are out there, and this is the update, grant update. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Sonia? Good job on
Thank you.
managing a tight budget. You guys have done amazing. This is a tight budget. We are, you're
I
right.
heard you're going to a retreat.
Well, you are. Well, we're having a budget workshop. I hope you're there.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
Oh, Lord, here we go again.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Sonia.
You're welcome.
All right, future agenda, Ms. Alyssa.
Good evening. So as previously discussed, we'll be having our special meeting to review the UDO and the CAMA land use plan review. The notice was issued for you to provide input and guidance on any changes you desire, so there's no need to make any amendments to that for adding discussion of food trucks. At that meeting, you'll also be receiving a presentation from Withers Ravenel, who will give you information on how the land use plan is updated for a full overhaul situation, not just for a certain situation. You will then also next week have a budget workshop special meeting, and that'll be at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, the 29th. And for the upcoming May meetings, we will have several proclamations on the 13th for Public Works, Police, Safe Boating Week, and the Onslow County Senior Games. We are still trying to obtain a date from the basketball team, so I have them slated for May, but we've tried to reach out to them with no response at this time. And I have added the food truck ordinance update as I feel it's going to be necessary to the list of future agenda items. Were there any other items the board would like to discuss this evening? Or add to the list?
I'd like to make sure that Joe and Kathy Brown give them a demonstration on cornhole. No, I just check for the senior games.
Well, there you go.
No, Miss Isabella, we're going to try to get her back.
We're going to work to reschedule her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got hit today with,
I'm sorry, Joe, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I got hit up today with a request that we review the building code to reference all brick exterior, and the reasoning behind that, what brought that about. So if we can look at, we can get some information on that portion of the code.
I'm sorry, we could barely hear you over the
Speak,
air
speak,
blowing
speak.
behind us.
It's on. Y'all asked for it. No, I would like to see us get on the agenda or get some information on the portion of the building code that requires all exterior brick. Is it a reasoning behind it? Is it hurricane, Cat 5 requirements, Cat 4 requirements? What are the requirements? I had a merchant here in town who would like to expand his business, but can't because he can't afford the total brick exterior. And a portion of his business now is exposed. If we did frontage and a 25 to 35% side brick or metal, what's the harm in that? I guess I just want to visit that. Get some deeper information about this ordinance or this requirement.
Is this location possibly in our historic district? Could there be historic
No,
regulations?
it's the 24 corridor. It's
Okay, I'm just asking only because we do have specific conditions for historic
Understand.
and not historic, so just want to make sure it wasn't in something like that.
This is for building, west of
It's
Old
not in
Hammond
the
Beach
historic
Road.
district. Okay.
So,
We can get something on the agenda for that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. No? I'd just like to maybe see about the waterfront access and development plan, kind of get that moved up. I had actually a shout out for the Public Works Department, gentleman that lives on where we just redid, can't remember the name of the street, it's corner of Spring and Chestnut, I think, where we redid the work. He was really happy with that. It's a waterfront access area. He even suggested we put some benches down there, which was very good on his part.
That was a stormwater project you're talking about?
Yep, that we just did, that they went back and redid tanking them, and he was extremely happy with that. So I'd like to maybe, if we could move that up as well, And then John and I talked about the visitor center, maybe having a meeting, addressing the visitor center and where we're at with that, and even take us on a tour, of the building, the Board of Commissioners. So that would be an open meeting, I'm assuming, and would that open it up to the public as well, I would guess? Question?
Board members can visit the building on
As-
their own, and it's not a meeting.
So we wouldn't have to,
Right, yeah, right now he has
I
a,
could. Oh, okay, so we couldn't do that right now. I just think it would be good to get some information out to the community as in regards to the visitor center. Go ahead.
There's just one or two things that have been languishing down the future agenda items, like Senate Bill 382. I think the staff's had enough time to prepare kind of like a brief for us, what those changes mean to us here in town. It's been out there for 4 months plus now. That's on a future agenda item. Is there a reason why we couldn't move that up to the next meeting?
we can move that up, yes.
Okay.
We're pretty dependent on what the state level people are doing, I guess, with that 382. And there's one more on, was it 1009 or something like that? That we're waiting for the state to vote on. Oh, sorry. We're waiting for the state to vote on what is it, 382, and then I think it's 1009.
Right, well, the 382 downzoning,
Uh-huh.
we can review that as it's been finalized, but the other ones obviously haven't been finalized. They're still making their way through the legislative
Okay.
steps.
Okay, Tamara, you got anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
And we don't have any items moved from consent, so we move to the public comment, and this, for any item that's not on the agenda, you're welcome to come to the, either microphone and speak for up to 5 minutes. So we've got one person signed up for that, and that's Terry Herbert. So if you step up and speak your name and address. You gonna pass? Okay. Yeah, Randy, go ahead. Just state your name and address, please.
Randy Swanson, 208 West Corbett, Commissioners Mayor, thank you. To answer some questions about the land use, because I was on that committee, the idea of having it where it was originally was not first thought, that would have another building constricting having a food truck there. The land use committee was really trying to at least have their hands around something that prevented us from being Western Boulevard. Frankly, I see no reason why not to switch that with the node in front of Food Lion, and put the food trucks in another spot, But as far as being wide open, the town had a history of putting moratoriums on things instead of trying to plan for growth instead of wide open use. So to modify that as being part of that committee, I wouldn't have an issue with it. And that 50 foot, I think there's a typo. I think it's 5 foot. I'm kidding. But I see no reason for that. 50 foot doesn't make any sense. And in fact, I have 5 or 6 outlets because I wanted to put a food truck rally down behind by the Mannix house and where the pavilion is there. So that yard has actually been predestined by me with a 400 amp service so that I could put food trucks in there for the benefit of the town, And with the budget, I like your face. You must have read Art of the Deal. That smile on your face with the budget. So as far as the food trucks and that, water access, yeah, I'm glad you guys are talking about water access. When do we connect the Riverwalk to the bicentennial? Can the food truck go in the Il Chino parking lot if I give them permission? Because I own the property?
That would be.
Because I'm not scared. I don't care. She can come into that parking lot if she so wishes.
Yeah,
Right.
we get an
So
answer for
if
you.
that's a solution for a temporary basis, sure, all for it. And one other request is, when can we fix the backyard behind the Mannix house by the pavilion? Do we have that on schedule?
The what?
The yard and the fence from putting the dock walk in and stuff.
Mhm.
I know all the dock walk and the walkway was in, but it still hasn't been, the backyard, I've been waiting 4 years to have that backyard look nice. You know,
Okay.
it's, you know, from the, and you know, you all probably just aren't thinking about it, you know, it's just because the deck walk between Bicentennial and Moore Street is down and the public docks. But because of the traversing and the egress ingress, because of the trucks, the backyard is still tore up. So if you guys could get that on a schedule someplace, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's all. So anyway,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the end of public comment. Now it's ready for manager's comments, which would be Mr. Barley.
A couple items. At the April 8th Board of Commissioners meeting, I told you that we're having some issues with whether a new CAMA permit was going to be required for us to place the no-wake buoys out front of on the river. And it looks like that we finally found out today that it's the Wildlife Resources Commission has the blanket permit for navigable waters in North Carolina. And we can work under that blanket permit as a contractor for them. We buy the material, we can place it, we have the coordinates. So it looks like we're good to go to put the buoys where they need to be. So hopefully next week or so, Justin and Tank can get that out there. What else? The grant application to repair the Main Street dock and the boardwalk, I mentioned that at the last board meeting. Those both were built with grants from Coastal Management, so we're eligible to apply for new grants for repair of both of those docks. 75% state funding, 25% local match. We'll submit the pre-application tomorrow. Perhaps in late May, we'll find out if we're invited to submit a full application. And then at that time, we'll bring it to the board to see if they want to accept those grants. I think we got strong contenders. At least that's the word we've been encouraged to apply for both of them. They were good projects back then, and they're still very viable. I think they'll be very competitive. And last Thursday, we got confirmation. Project Coffee did receive a $1.36 million infrastructure grant from the Rural Infrastructure Authority. The state of North Carolina awarded us grant. That's due to the town board and the county commissioners both putting up $250,000 each as a match. So now that we're eligible for these grants, I think there's going to be Golden Leaf is another one we're looking at to fill that gap in, to get the streets, water, and sewer in so that we can have some lots available for sale in the park here very soon. That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you so much. And it's good to see that grant come in. That shows that our allocation of the $250,000 benefited, I think, with the county.
That's the only way you have got it, is that match. Yeah.
All right, thank you, John. Okay, board comments. We'll start with Pat down at the end, if you'd like to add anything.
Sure. Thanks for everyone who showed up today. Appreciate it. Congratulations to administrative professionals. Some have already gone. And to Alyssa for municipal, and Allie's already gone. So, but congratulations. I appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
For those of you that may or may not follow what's going on with the State House and Senate right now, there have been a few disturbing articles that have come out about some of the Senate bills and House bills that are being considered. I think we as a board need to do a resolution opposing House Bill 1009, House Bill 765, and Senate Bill 497. Pretty much what these bills are doing are taking away local municipalities' ability to review anything that's going to do that has to do with any type of developments that are going on. And if you read into them, the one that disturbs me the most is House Bill 497. And basically what it is any single-family residential district without a public hearing and without regard to impact on the value of neighboring single-family property. Wow. Wow. So I urge you, to get a hold of your representatives, telling them, hey, I'm hoping that they're going to go through and pick apart stuff, and it's going to end up with something maybe not as bad. But just keep that in mind. A lot of this stuff is floating through the House and the Senate committees, and they're going to be voting on them more than likely by fall. So keep that in mind. And like I said, I would like for us to do a resolution opposing these three. The other two that I didn't say specifically what they were, House Bill 1009, that one, that is taking away ETJ. So we wouldn't have ETJ anymore. They'd just fall under the county. No say and nothing. And then the other one, House Bill 765, is strips local government of the authority to apply certain conditions based on voluntary consent, such as building design standards to single-family residential homes. So we couldn't issue a permit with conditions like we've done before, whether it's to put in a sidewalk or whatever, all that would go away. Thank everybody for coming. Thank you, staff, for providing all the information. I enjoyed our meeting this morning, John. Thank you for all the information you gave.
I just thank you for everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. That we had some interest, especially in some of the topics tonight. Definitely, we got to take a look at some of the House bills and Senate bills that are coming out to be voted on this fall. Consolidating decisions away from the citizens is not a good idea, I don't think. But then again, I got to look at the text of the bills and got to take a hard look at that. Any help you guys can give us on that as town manager, appreciate that, and the county manager as well, what their thoughts are. And I guess we'll have to talk to our county commissioners.
I'd like to thank everybody, staff, awesome job again, Rebecca. Don't you take the heat and you keep on cooking. That's why I like that. I agree with the things that Jeff brought up. I've gone down in flames here recently on some of my ideas, the way things should go, but I still think it's our business. The state has I don't think they have any business taking those options away from us as a community. The food truck stuff, I hope we work it out. I think some people may be missing the idea that you go to Food Line because it's convenient for the working man to come by and get a hot dog. If we put you down here behind the borough or down by there, ain't nobody driving down there to get a hot dog. We need to figure out a way to keep you front and center so you can sell some hot dogs. Good, because it's the working guy, the construction worker, the guy that's got 15 minutes to get where you got to be, and he needs to get something to eat. He's coming to you to get that. So we got to figure that out. Not going to do it tonight. Maybe we'll work on it tomorrow. But other than that, hey, again, thank everybody else for coming, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Tamara?
Just thank you to the staff for putting this all together for
A
us.
little closer. I was bad about it too.
It's like American Idol. Thank you for everybody that came out. Thank you for everybody that spoke.
All right, yeah, I just wanted to, again, recognize Elisa and Allie and all for their staff recognition they got, the resolution and proclamation they got tonight. I also wanted, I touched on it earlier, I want to thank Tank. I got a call, Tank, from Sherwood Odom saying how good a job you did in revamping that public water access right next to his house. He's real happy with the results. So thank you so much for that. That's great. We have a lot of businesses like Randy. I want to thank them, and Front Street Grocery that do a lot of little extra things for the community. I just want to thank them as well. You're always trying to help the community as best you can. And I definitely have to offer condolences to the family of W.T. Casper. He was one of our premier citizens and gave the town its personality to a large degree, one of the people. He's one of the first people I ever met, and he would certainly tell you what he thought, and I appreciated that about him. He always knew where WT was at, and that was a good quality to have. So our condolences to the Casper family. And I'm going to give a shout out to Joe Brown, as a matter of fact, because Joe does a lot of volunteer work around town. He helped cook sunrise breakfast for the Methodist Church the other day. He helps cook peanuts, and he also does backpack buddies. So you do a lot of little extra things that our community service is all about, things that aren't recognized. Let me talk. You want to hug me? And the rest of the staff, the rest of the Board of Commissioners, they all do go above and beyond. So thank you all so much. And Joe has one final comment, I guess he wants to.
Just speaking of backpacks, there's a poster out here on the front door. You use a QR code on there or make contact with somebody that does backpacks. We're having a duck race, a rubber duck race on the 10th of May. We adjusted our prices, and you can buy a big duck for $100 and try to win $5,000. It's a pretty good return. They're only going to put 200 ducks in the water, so that's a really good chances on that. And then you can win a griddle. Give away 7 small or 36-inch griddles, Blackstones, and 1 great big beautiful one. So, check out the duck race. He opened this door for me, so if you got a problem
I
with
was
that.
what in the world was something.
But that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay.
Duck race.
So I guess that concludes all of our, okay, yeah. If you step to the podium and state your name and address, please. And it's more of a comment section than question and answer. So,
my name is Constance Crocker, 111 Jones Road, Swansboro. There was an item that if I read it correctly, on the town manager's report that referred to the Flybridge development and that it possibly being presented again. Just want to know why that wasn't mentioned tonight, if it was in the packet.
yeah, it's not on any agenda at the present time.
Okay.
That's all I know. I mean, I haven't heard any topic. It's not really a discussion period.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
it was in the town manager's report, so that's why I was wondering why it wasn't.
I can get some more answers. I'll give you my phone number, and you're more than welcome to call me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So is that all everybody wants to say? Okay. So we're going to go into closed session now, and you're welcome to wait for us to come back. It will stay on the live stream. But we're going to go, I need a motion to enter a closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged, and to establish or to instruct the public body staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease. So do I have a motion?
So,
Okay, a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so unanimous, we'll go to closed session. You're welcome to wait, and I don't think there's going to be anything to report, but you're more than welcome to wait and see. All right, thank you all for coming out. All right, well, I'll let you get a word in edgewise.
Go for it.